everyone, welcome back to the FPA's podcast. Today we have Mr. Suresh Sadagopan with us. Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh, for doing this for us. Mr. Suresh, as you would already know, is a financial planner and he is a director of Ladder 7. And in fact, he has also written a book which is called as If God Was Your Financial Planner. So that's about him. But let's listen from the horse's mouth, I think. We are going to have a lot of insights about financial planning, careers in finance, and a lot of things which you all will see through the video.
Hi, I'm Suresh Sadagopan. I'm a certified financial planner and I'm the managing director of Ladder 7 Wealth Planners Private Limited. I started this firm about 20 years back. We have just now completed our 20th anniversary and we are a fee-only financial planning firm. It has been a very wonderful, long journey, and I would say that CFP had given me the confidence to embark on this journey. Incidentally, by way of going into my background, uh, I was doing something very, very rough, which I did not know was called financial planning.
Right.
The moment I learned about CFP, I knew that this is exactly what I wanted to do. The next day I enrolled.
Okay.
So, it has been a incredible journey in that sense. And CFP has definitely helped me to give that basic foundation and grounding on which we have been able to build on the financial planning practice itself. So, apart from CFP, I have done my MMS. I'm also a registered life planner, and I'm a chartered trust and financial planner. Yeah,
Okay.
that is something different. Life planning is something different.
It's different.
And I'm also a chartered trust and estate planner.
Okay.
So those are the things.
Sure. Okay. So let's start with the questions and help the audience understand, what they are actually looking for. So to know your journey a little bit, when you started in I think 2004, how was it before you were a CFP and post you completed CFP? So how has your journey been throughout, in Ladder 7, like taking it to this level today? You've been in the industry, I think, more than 2 decades now, because 20 years to Ladder 7, and you have of course been in the industry more than that. So how has your journey been through and through before CFP and after CFP certification?
So I came into this financial services industry in 2002.
Okay.
And before that I was in an entirely different line of business. I think none of you will be interested in knowing about that, but let me talk about that 2002, why I transitioned into that. The previous industry in which I was, it was in the field of training.
Okay.
So there were some challenges in terms of importing and reselling those training resources, and that's why I was looking for an alternative to come into, considering my background. So at that time, insurance seemed to be a sunrise industry at that time.
Okay.
And it looked like an obvious choice for me because I did not want to put too much money. I just wanted to use my intellect, knowledge, whatever. And then I wanted to actually start some kind of a practice where I can really do something good, useful for the people at large. So initially I did not know much. So that is when I came into insurance industry through ICICI Prudential.
All right.
So what happened at that time was, of course, I knew it's a sales job. I knew that right from day one. As far as ICICI Prudential, they had brought something called a client profiler. In this case, we are going to gather some information about the clients.
All right.
So what are their goals? What are their earning? What are their spending? What are their aspirations? All that.
Okay.
So I was very intrigued by that thing, and I took it up with every client I met. So what happened in that process was that I gathered that information and I used to prepare a small report.
Right.
It was a 2.5 page report based on my understanding at that time.
Okay.
And of course, I was in the field of insurance, so whatever I used to suggest was insurance related product, but at least I was matching their needs with an appropriate product, and I was giving a logic of why I was doing what I was doing.
Right.
So it is in that context that I came to know about CFP.
Okay.
While I was doing all this, I had met with fair amount of success even in this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tremendous amount of success, I would say.
Before CFP.
Before CFP.
Okay.
So because what I was doing in a very, very rough form was actually financial planning only.
Right.
But again, it was due to my lack of knowledge. I was only doing it in insurance, nothing else.
Okay.
So, but even there, on an average, I was doing something like 4 on 10. In insurance, if you meet 10 customers, you will convert 1.
Right.
In my case, on an average, I was converting 4 on 10.
On 10.
so
That's
which was
great.
much higher than the normal average.
Right. In the industry.
So yeah, so I was able to understand there is something good in whatever I'm doing, the
Correct.
process,
Correct.
and that is when I came to know about CFP.
Hmm.
And the moment I knew what CFP is going to cover, I knew that this is it. So what I'm doing is pure kacha work,
Hmm.
and there is an entire field out there, entire
Right.
profession out there,
Hmm.
which can actually help me to really do a proper job that create that blueprint for people.
Correct.
So the moment I knew that this is what I want to do, and that is when I enrolled. And so it was a sea change.
Okay.
Having said that, CFP gave a lot of knowledge and you can say some amount of skills at that time.
Right.
But still, I did not really know how to do a financial plan. See, I mean, CFP also has evolved over a period of time
Yeah, totally.
tremendously,
Correct.
right? At that time, we did not know how to do a financial plan.
Correct.
So, a lot of credit to CFP.
Great. I think you are very right. It has evolved over the years because now they have included in the curriculum how to actually construct the financial plan, which was not there earlier
Yes.
when we all did it, right?
Yes, yes.
So I think that's a very good change
Correct.
that we see in the industry.
Yes.
Okay, so on this same path, since we know you've been so long in the industry, you would already be hiring candidates who have pursued CFP and candidates who've not pursued CFP both, because everybody wants to get into finance today. What is the gap in the industry that CFP professional carries, or what kind of knowledge do you think is different a non-CFP and a CFP has that helps you with the clients, with the client engagement? Is there any gap in the first place?
I'll answer it slightly differently.
Sure.
So we are looking at CFP certificates because I mean that is basically the certification for financial planning.
Right.
So it's a logical thing from our point of view to look for CFPs.
Correct.
Because that'll give us a candidate who has basic knowledge and skills on the foundation will be there.
Yeah.
See, on top of that, then we can actually train them and then we can build them. So ideally speaking, a CFP candidate is the best fit from our point of view.
Okay.
Having said that, there are going to be other candidates who have done other certifications
Sure.
also who do come to us.
Hmm.
So from our point of view, yeah, I mean, if you have other candidates, then we have to check whether they have the appropriate knowledge and skills.
Right.
So we have our own internal interview and test.
Okay.
So if they are able to clear that, then we'll be able to take them. But certainly CFP certification will be helpful.
Sure.
Because I mean it's a full body of knowledge.
Hmm.
It has been created like that. It is a full body of knowledge which will help somebody to be a financial planner.
Right.
So from that point of view, it's definitely advantageous for a person to come with a CFP certification to us.
Sure.
Because the chances of them clearing our interview and test and coming into a profession is much higher.
Right. So I have heard that the test that you'll take at ladder 7, it's really difficult, which is really good because I'm sure you're looking at certain skills that a candidate should have, be it a CFP or be it a non-CFP. Any candidate who wants to enter into finance, being a person who's also employing people, what do you think is the skill that a person should have to get into finance?
See, today one is the basic knowledge and skills. So one of the things we look for in the interview is the basic knowledge and skills.
Right.
And that is why we are also putting them through that test.
Test.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that tests them for the knowledge and skills.
Hmm.
But for today, somebody to be a successful financial planner, there are a whole lot of other things which are required.
Right.
See, if I have to give a broader answer, today there are a lot of platforms which are coming up, which are able to do a lot of things which financial planners are doing. So that robo advisory and things like that are coming up.
AI has changed things.
AI is becoming more and more prevalent.
Yes.
So from that point of view, while the knowledge and skills are absolutely required, the person who is coming in as a financial advisor will require far more skills in terms of client engagement.
Okay.
So that becomes far more important.
Right.
And they should be relevant in the client's life, not just in terms of money. And one is of course the talk about money and wealth creation and things like
Sure.
that. But how relevant are we in their lives? So that is what is going to keep us in business. I'm very
Definitely.
clear on that.
Yeah.
That I mean, if you are only going to do financial planning and then in a cut and dried manner, we are going to present that. I don't think we'll be in business for a long time.
Right.
So we need to be more relevant to their in their lives.
Yeah.
So that attitude, that empathy,
Correct.
that helpfulness,
Correct.
that curiosity about our clients.
Right.
So deep interest about their client life. So these are some things which are very, very important, and that is what we are trying to inculcate in the candidates.
Okay.
Over a period of time, those things we want ingrained in the candidate.
In the candidate, yeah.
So that then they'll be able to handle the client very well. So client handling is everything to me, if you ask me.
Absolutely, because CFP or anybody else who is in finance has to be the face for the client, right? But is it right to say that they have to be the face for the client because it involves a lot of sales? Or in general, in financial planning, are there other roles apart from sales available?
In fact, in our organization, there is no sales at all.
Wow.
Because it is pure financial planning.
Correct.
So if we are a fee only financial planner, so the role of a financial advisor is to give aligned advice to our clients.
Correct.
So whatever their requirements are or whatever problems they are facing, we are supposed to come up with a appropriate solution.
Sure. Yeah.
To their problems, or it may not necessarily be a problem. It can be certain goals and aspirations that we need to meet. So we are those people who create that financial architecture to meet whatever they need to meet going forward in their future. So
Right.
we are, in a sense, we are the quarterback of the customers. We are standing
Right.
behind them and we are helping the entire family to achieve all those milestones with metronomic regularity. So that is
Right.
what we need to do.
Right.
So there is no sales absolutely involved. We are absolutely agnostic as far as products are concerned.
Right.
Products are purely secondary. Of course,
Right.
they will have to invest in something or other.
Sure.
So that will come right at the end of the financial planning process. But what is very, very important is the blueprint, the financial blueprint, which is the financial plan.
Right.
Just so that we can put in the money in the appropriate buckets.
Right. So that it has wealth creation touch to it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you have to invest somewhere.
Right.
So that I also understand, everybody understands.
Correct.
But there is no sales element. And incidentally, in fee only financial planning, we don't get any commissions or brokerage.
Absolutely.
So the only thing that we get in our kind of an engagement is the fee that the client gives us.
Correct.
So there is a clear cut alignment of interest between what we do and the client's interest.
So it's more of like a service to their needs rather than sales, is what we.
Yeah, there is zero sales.
There's zero.
There is zero sales. I mean, it is only. I mean, they are paying. See, it's like if you go to a lawyer or if you go to a doctor.
Yeah.
You pay a certain fee and you get certain advice.
Correct.
This is no different from that. This is exactly the same thing.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a very good angle for the young finance enthusiast to understand how finance works. So moving towards the next question, you already spoke about technology a little bit. So we all know there is AI in the industry now, which has changed the financial advisory a little bit, if not a lot, but there has been changes. So how do you think after AI is financial planning, industry looking like? And two, how has Ladder 7 incorporated or integrated these technological changes to grow over a period of time and have a smooth financial advisory?
Very good question, because today we are actually at the cusp of a sea change.
Yes.
Okay, we are just at the portals of a massive change at this point in time. The entire industry is not realizing this.
Right.
Okay? Nobody is realizing this. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and these kind of things are going to bring about a massive change in all industries, including financial services industry.
Definitely.
And people are ignoring the pen. Okay. So that is why slightly earlier on I told you that while the knowledge and skills are important, these knowledge and skills can very easily be taken up by an algorithm. Okay, very easily it will be taken up. In fact, some of the advice that we are going to give also will be fairly neatly codified, and there will be an expert system which will be built around that knowledge, and you will be able to get reasonably good advice going forward.
Correct.
So the foundations of that are already there.
Right.
So without the human interface and that experience which you are going to give to the client. So if we need to be in business, we will have to be relevant to the clients. We will have to do something in their lives, which is going to be really shifting the orbit from their point of view. So if we are going to play that role of an advisor, because see, ultimately financial planning or the architecture or the blueprint is not everything. See, every
Absolutely.
client, they have their own challenges, problems in life. Are we
Definitely.
able to step in? Are we able to provide that counsel,
Right.
which may be partially to do with money, and which may be partially, something outside of that, the
Right.
psychological aspect, behavioral aspect, or life aspect. It can be anything. So, are we able to really play a role in their lives, in bettering their lives? I think that is the thing we need to focus on. If we are able to play a very good role in that aspect of their lives, along with the finances, I think we will have a role as financial planners. If we are going to really think that we are cut and dried financial advisors and we are going to deliver a plan and that's about it and all that, I think we will go the way of the dinosaur.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so that's the thing.
So I think my take from it is that a human touch with the client is required definitely, but so that we always are in the business, it is important that we have a personal connection with the client. Not only do we deliver the plan, but we are there for them whenever they need any help for the finances. That what you're trying to
Yeah.
focus on?
So yeah, absolutely right. I'll go
Yes.
one step further than that.
Sure.
So there is another. I told you that I'm a registered life planner.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So there is a role beyond just being a financial planner.
Hmm.
A lot of people have not clearly articulated what they really want to do in life. A lot of them,
Correct.
and they have thought at some point in time that this is what I want to do, but over a period of time, their career or their life has taken them elsewhere. They are probably very very successful, but still they are not very. A lot of times you have seen these people, right?
Yeah.
Very successful people, but they are not very happy.
They're not happy. Yes.
They're not happy, right?
Absolutely.
So what is that? What is that in their? What is that is missing in their life because of which their happiness quotient is not there.
Right.
So if you actually really look at such people, they may actually want to do something else in their lives, or they may want to bring something or subtract something from their lives,
Right.
to make their life far more meaningful and far more well lived. So we can actually engage with our clients and find out what is that meaningful life that they really want to live, and then we can actually create that financial architecture that becomes far more meaningful.
Correct. Yeah, that really makes sense. Okay, so towards the closing line, if you were to advise something to these young finance enthusiasts that are there in the industry today who want to make a career in finance, so you being so much experienced and full of life and experiences, what would you suggest to them? How should they start their career? What should they do about it? What is your advice on that?
There are several things which I will tell a young person. One is first and foremost, college is not the time to do time pass. Okay.
Right.
If you have enrolled in certification like CFP, take it very seriously. The knowledge that is there in that will actually be a great foundation, like I have talked about. So
Yes.
you need to go through that diligently. For any youngster, whether they are in finances or in other fields, whatever they choose, uh, college does not prepare you for a career in real life.
Correct.
Any field.
Yeah.
So you need to read a lot more in your field and outside your field.
Definitely.
Number two. Number three, financial planning, especially financial planning, is a customer-facing kind of an industry.
Okay.
This profession is a customer-facing profession. So we need to understand that portion of it. So a lot of people tend to think that I have the knowledge and skills, I have cracked this exam, etc. So that is, I think, probably the first 10 or 15% of what you require to be a successful financial advisor.
Okay.
The rest of it is you will have to build. You will have to read a lot, especially books on psychology, on behavioral economics,
Correct.
and a lot of other fields. You have to be widely read.
Right.
And that doesn't happen overnight. If you really need to engage your client in a good conversation, you have to have a reasonably good fund of knowledge. Number one. Number two, you have to have the curiosity. If you don't have knowledge, right, when you are say 22 or 23, you may not have all the knowledge in the world. It will come over a period of time, right?
Yes.
So the substitute for that is curiosity and deep interest.
Correct.
So if you are curious about the other person in a genuine way, the other person will be able to pitch in, fill in on those things. So you will be an engaging conversationalist
Right.
by only asking only the right questions.
Right.
So the other person, suppose there is a pilot sitting out there, there is a managing director of some media company sitting out there. You just ask the right question and you pay attention to that respectfully, and then they will give you so much information. So first of all, they are educating you, and secondly, you are also, in a sense, uh, you are also kind of becoming a part of their good books in that
Correct.
sense. So that is the way to build curiosity. Deep interest is very, very important. And then the other thing that people will have to inculcate in their overall consciousness is empathy.
Correct.
We all tend to have our own opinions about various things.
Right.
So we have to really separate us from the conversations. We have to basically put ourselves in their shoes and see that. So I mean, these things we will have to slowly start learning.
Build over a period of time.
Build over a period of time. This does not come naturally for many people.
Absolutely.
It comes naturally for some people.
Correct.
So I mean, there are so many things which a young person will have to do. So I'll just summarize. One is, of course, pay attention to the course.
Right.
Read a lot of books. Then you have to have that client connect. You
Right.
have to be interested in the people that you are dealing with. Knowledge alone is not sufficient to be successful. On a constant basis, keep reading books. I mean, I keep reading books even today.
Yeah.
Okay, regularly. I keep telling all my advisors to keep reading.
Right.
A reasonably good pace of reading book will be one book of every 15 days.
Right.
Okay, so that is 24 books a year roughly.
Correct.
So that kind of reading will be required for if you really want to be successful, and you have to be interested in people. So that's the most important thing.
It's not only about money that you have to look at. There are a lot of things apart from money, like psychology, reading, like Mr. Suresh rightly summarized. In fact, to add there, at FPA Edutech, we do have a couple of things apart from theory. I'm sure theory is important, but when you are sitting with a client, you don't really need what you've read in the book. Meaning, I say when I say book, not necessarily curriculum. You don't need to read out the point to the client. What you actually need is practical exposure to it, and hence we are sure that people like you can definitely help us reach to the audience and students accordingly by doing these industry expert guest classes and lectures.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that is much required today. So I think this has been wonderful. All the insights are going to be very useful for all the audience, I'm sure. Just one more advice, or the scope that you would want to share with the audience. Let's say, how do you think is the financial planning industry looking forward like? What do you think 5 years, 10 years down the line? What is the scope?
Yeah, I mean, to answer this, let me go back to 60s and 70s.
Yeah, sure.
If in that period somebody says that I'm going to come into the business of selling water, people would have laughed at that kind of a person.
Correct.
Okay, but Bisleri has become synonymous with bottled water.
Yes.
And Bisleri is available even in the pawn shops today.
Yes.
Everybody, I mean, we don't bat an eyelid to pay 20 rupees and buy a bottle of Bisleri.
Definitely.
And Bisleri is the top brand, and there are so many brands. There are hundreds and thousands of brands which
Absolutely.
are there.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at that stage in financial advisory today. We are in the 60s and 70s, so to speak, of of the bottled water.
Okay, yes.
As far as financial planning is concerned, financial planning has tremendous potential. So if you look at how advice is delivered in this area, typically,
right,
there have been no advisors per se. Okay, I mean, so previously it was felt like it is all free advice.
Yeah.
See, advice is never free. I mean, you'll have to look at the gift horse in its mouth. So it is never free, right? So there is somebody who is selling some insurance or selling some XYZ.
Right.
Okay, and in the process they are saying, okay, you can do this, you can do that, but that is not aligned advice, not aligned to the client's best interest.
Right.
Okay, they have a product to sell, and whatever they may say, it may have a pecuniary interest which they may have. Okay, so from that point of view, I mean, people have been, in a sense, without realizing that they have been suffering. They have been getting wrong advice and they have been suffering. Fee only financial advice actually changes all that.
Okay.
Now in the world, is this really very different from what is happening in other areas? Actually, no. If you look at medical field, if you look at legal field, if you look at the field of architecture,
Yes.
I mean, there are already people who are charging a fee for services rendered.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the most important thing in life, which is our finances, we all spend 35, 40 years in earning that money,
Yeah.
creating that wealth, because that is the basis on which
We live the
all
life.
the goals,
And-
yeah, live the life. All the goals, everything that you want in life is met through that earning, right? But we pay scant attention to that. And a lot of times, without any idea of what to do with that, we are just investing randomly.
Yes.
Based on what we hear, based on what our friends or
Friends
colleagues or
tips,
anybody
family
says,
tips.
we don't pay any attention. We don't even want to read brochures. So that
Right.
is typically how it is, not in India, worldwide.
Okay.
This is how it is worldwide.
Right.
So it is very, very important for somebody like that, I mean, who does not pay too much attention, to have somebody who is professional,
Right.
who will be able to really counsel them, advise them on what they need to do with their finances.
Right.
So, financial advisor has a major role to play. And another aspect today is that India is becoming rapidly wealthy.
Yes.
So we have the third largest number of billionaires in the world today.
Correct.
We are expected to have about 17 lakh people who are dollar millionaires, meaning 8.5 to 9 crores of investable surplus by 27, which is not very far.
Yeah. Right. 3 years. down the line.
17 lakhs. So it's not a small number. And there are a whole lot of, there are millions of people below that. Millions
Correct.
below that, I mean, who
Yes.
have 2 crore, 3 crore, 5 crore. So, I mean, there's a huge addressable population out there which requires financial planning. So the thing that we need to do is to help them understand that financial planning is really, really important for them.
Correct.
A lot of people don't understand that. It is our role to help them to realize that financial planning is important as much as you go to a doctor when you have a medical problem, as much as you go to a lawyer when you have a legal problem. Every single person has to come to a proper financial advisor. If you don't have the wherewithal, if you already know a lot of things, that's fine. But that is less than 1%. 99% of the people will require a proper financial advisor. And now I'm coming to, that is why I'm saying that financial advisory profession is exactly in the same place, 60s or 70s of bottled
Right.
water.
Right.
So we have a long way to go. As per the SEBI data, we are only 960 advisors, fee-only advisors, RAs, in the country today.
Looking at the population of the country.
Looking at the population, and out of the 960 people, I would say less than 200 or 300 people will be real financial advisors like us. A lot of other people are stock tip providers and stuff like that.
Right.
In that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Looking
so
at only one product majorly.
one product or stock, I mean, yeah, one product or stock tip providers. So
Right.
that kind of thing. Majority of them are stock tip providers.
Right.
So, or somebody who may not be stock tip providers, but they are only managing somebody's equity portfolio.
Correct. Not
So that's
touching
not
base.
financial planning, right?
Absolutely.
So actual hardcore financial planners would be hardly 200.
Right.
So, I mean, I would say this is the sunrise profession. I mean, which you need to really actively consider, because it is going to really, you can say, explode in the future.
Definitely.
And CFP definitely gives a leg up in that space.
Right.
In terms of preparing you for a profession. Like I said, there is a lot to learn after CFP,
Correct.
but certainly it lays the foundation required for a career in financial advisory profession.
Okay. So I think the scope is not only from the terms of getting a job, but anybody who wants to start their own entrepreneurship, they can get into that. I mean, there are very few professions who easily, wave a path for you for entrepreneurship, and I'm sure a lot of people want to become their own boss today.
Yeah, so there is only one word of caution. It's a field which is wide open. This is a field which is new. Like I said slightly earlier, we need to do a lot of pioneering work, a lot of educational work among people.
Right.
To help them understand that financial planning and advisory is really required for them. A lot of people are oblivious to the fact that they require financial advice and planning.
Correct.
So, yeah, I mean, you can start an enterprise, you can start being a planner on your own.
Right.
But the only thing which I would say is have a good runway. So I
Right.
mean, this is not a get rich quick kind of an industry. In
Yes.
fact, no profession is.
No, we
No
have to be
profession is.
patient.
You have to be patient.
Yeah.
So keep a say 5 7 year runway
Right.
for you to establish yourself and start doing that.
Right.
So if that is the thing and you are willing to work diligently on this, I think you will be on to a good thing. So it's a great place to start as a professional.
Correct.
So unlike the other established profession, there is virtually nothing here.
Correct.
So and that's the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's how people should really look at it as an opportunity. In fact, again, touching base, the employment side, we at FPA also have so many openings today. There are so many employers who want to hire CFPs. The only thing missing always is the right skill set, right? Maybe the theoretical knowledge is there, but they don't understand things practically. Maybe they've not given or cleared the exams. So I'm sure getting into the path is not enough. You have to stay in the path and be patient for a very long time. Get into the certification and try and give the exams regularly.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm sure you would not want to hire somebody who's only just started the certification. You want them to complete it, right?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, even after you complete the certification, that is only the foundation.
Correct.
So if you have only started and left it halfway, there is nothing anybody can do, right?
Right.
So and especially if you have started on a journey, you should actually complete the journey.
Right.
Even in athletics, they say, even in marathons, they say, if you have started, you may be the last one.
Right.
Somebody has run the marathon in 2 hours and 30 minutes, and you are able to do it in 4 hours. Complete it.
Correct.
Completing the thing is a
Very
quality
important.
by itself.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
so complete it, and then I mean, at certain points in time, there may be a lot of disappointment. That's okay, but complete it,
Correct.
and then you can build on that. You can
Right.
always get back the mojo. You can always get back the
Correct.
zing, and you can come. You will be able to go ahead in life. So
Right.
don't leave it halfway.
I think this was amazing. Thanks once again, Mr. Suresh, for doing this for us. I'm sure all of you would have got amazing insights, be it for financial planning, be it advisory, be it getting into the financial planning industry altogether, not only as a career. So y'all must have understood that this is not only a place, for career, but in fact, even if you want to manage your own finances, I'm sure it is helpful to understand the curriculum, and if there is anybody who we think we can help, to get into the business of finance or understand finance for yourself, we are very happy to help. And that is it. We would like to close the podcast here. Thank you everyone for watching it, and thank you, Mr. Suresh, once again for doing this for us.